So we have to balance these power in the world instead of trying to beat the other one to death with the other one.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a childish, theological viewpoint on these matters.
Hmm.
Um, but so that's what I think we should try to do. Not say we have to get rid of evil.
Hmm.
We have to give it its right place, like the
Hmm.
good,
Yeah.
and that's where the world is going to be a better place from. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But it will always be, as long as we are incarnated, this is the world of struggle at the same time.
Mm. Oh,
And,
yes.
but we can make it also a beautiful place where struggle is still a part of the whole thing,
Yeah, it's inevitable.
but it can still be a kingdom of heaven.
Hello, Synchronauts. How are you? It's really nice to be back in this 2026 year with you. We've been away a little bit, dear Mike. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be here again after some
Yeah,
time.
yeah. It took us a little bit of a while because let me tell
Yeah.
you guys that Mike is working on his new book. Can you tell us a little bit about your new book that you're working on?
No, of course, we can rectify that a little bit because we are working on it.
Yes, but
But
it's your baby. So I was gonna
all
talk
right,
about my
yeah.
my collaboration in a moment, but yeah.
Thank you for mentioning it. Yeah, after some years, with some interruptions because of other writing adventures, I seriously last year in 2025 started again to re-edit my book, Kabbalah, the Round Table, and the Holy Grail. So this is based upon Toledano Kabbalah, as you know it, and I hope maybe some other listeners and viewers of the program, and at the same time, the esoteric application of the wonderful round table mythology and legends, so that it becomes a book, an amalgam of the two um, topics together
Mhm.
in a very esoteric and practical way.
Yes, so that's why
Yeah,
we have been absent because I am helping Mike edit the book. So we have been meeting constantly to work on that. But I said, hey, Mike, we need to take some time to finish with the topic of that we began actually on Samhain on the Day of the Dead last year,
yeah,
talking about the thinning of the veil. And we kind of are right now in another thinning of the veil because we're moving on to in the northern hemisphere at least we're moving on from winter towards spring now, so it's still
we
like
do.
yeah, like we're still in a good time to close the topic hopefully. um
Yeah.
so here we are to talk today about well, we were talking a little bit more about these like dark energies that we can find
Hmm,
that is
hmm.
not necessarily related to the closing of the of one moment of the year and the beginning of the next. You have
Yeah.
been really kind to us to let us know the differences between the actual dangers of playing, for example, a Ouija board or
Mhm.
trying to contact people that are on the other side of the veil. But you
Yeah.
are telling us about the actual dangers from the forces of evil because they do exist. We have to say that they do
Mm-hmm.
exist,
Yeah.
and we have to be careful on how they well how they might come and have some influence, some negative influence in our lives. So so we're
They
gonna
do.
and yeah, and you can see like we had all the Halloween themes here for when we began this series of programs. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's
Mhm.
if you want, we could do a little recap about the last thing that we talked about in our last video, which is
Yeah.
precisely, you know, this evil influence. How does the evil present itself in our lives, and how can we be mindful about it?
Exactly. And these are four quite classical examples. They are mentioned in a lot of exorcist rites. So they are warning signs. So if you are up against definite spiritual intrusion, so what we really call a possession, that means that the person, the victim, is intruded by an external entity. And that will mean most of the time that through the victim, anyone will be attacked in the vicinity within the environment. And the priest or the saint or whatever the person is, its duty and office will also be included in that one.
Mm.
You see it sometimes in certain examples that priests are very attractive targets for
Of course.
certain demons and devils.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, you will be attacked on, as it says in deception, it may be lies and shame, the
Mhm.
feeling of guilt
Oh,
that you
yes.
have, of
Mhm.
accusation. But and the other side, of course, is the deception through flattery. So it's all ego based upon experiences of your own life, where
Mhm.
you feel very good
Yeah.
about it, or you feel, no, well, uh, guilty or ashamed about certain things, and that will bring you off guard. It will bring you off balance. So that's an important thing there.
Yeah.
And of course, outside of these examples of serious exorcisms, these are also things that we may recognize in daily life,
Oh, yes.
where we as a person attack someone else
Mhm.
by trying to get someone off balance by the same points that we see here mentioning.
Mm.
Um, so we shouldn't forget about that.
Yeah, like
So
it
we
can also
stagnate. Oh, go
it
ahead, go ahead.
no, yeah, it also manifests in ways and places that we might not even aware of it.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly that. Yeah.
Mm.
It may be on the work floor, with family, with friends, and it might be, of course, a genuine comment of saying something nice to you and
Mhm.
give you a compliment,
Mhm.
but it may also be to deceive you, and
Yeah.
it also happens very much.
Mm.
Or somebody gives you a very good comment, actually to receive something back for themselves. It
Ah.
is a way of deception, you see.
Wow.
Um, People who lack, they sometimes give a lot of, they are pleasers because they want to receive.
Mm.
That has nothing to do with possession, of course, but it is an unbalanced way of going about with these kind of things. Yeah.
And okay, I'm gonna say it this way, and then you can correct me if I'm wording it in the wrong way.
Mm.
So it could be like an evil influence in a way, no? Like we have this
Yeah.
energy around us that is, it's like, and I think we have talked about it in one of the past programs. No, on the one side you have the little angel, and the other one you have the little devil, no, like in the cartoons,
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
and it's whispering, no, like flatter them so that they can tell you how gorgeous you look today, no, for instance, no, some silly
Mm.
example, like, oh, you
That's
should do
it.
this
Yeah.
so that, yeah,
Mm.
they can like
You see
tell
that
them,
happening a lot of fairy tales, for example. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. It's very archetypal, like
yeah,
the angel and the devil on both shoulders. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And
so
it can be out of an conscious and aware um, activity
mm,
that is bordering against evil intent because you know that you're actually deceiving someone or leading to stagnation in the sense of guilt and shame.
mm.
Um, and with some people, it's yeah, it's an automatic, conditioned way of treating people sometimes.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
not aware of how like they are hurting people, and
Mhm.
it's just part
Yeah.
of their nature. But if I talk about it psychologically, though, like it comes to my mind that sometimes we might want to excuse these kinds of behaviors with people we love or we know, because you say, oh,
Hmm.
they had a rough childhood, no, for example, oh, they were abused, or these
Yeah.
things happened to them, and that's why they are that way. But sometimes I feel that even though people might go through misfortunes, that is not an excuse to act in such a way when you have certain a certain degree of awareness of or consciousness. So
Yeah.
maybe if we are, as you say, no, and that's part of the stagnation, I think, as well. if we go through life like zombies and we really just like by inertia we move, then I think it's easier for us to be influenced by the little devil and in this case not to continue this behavior. And sometimes, and I don't know, maybe that has happened to you because it happens to everyone, all humans, but it has happened to me that sometimes I say something I didn't even realize it just came out of my mouth, and I'm just like, what was that? No, like I didn't mean to be like mean, or suddenly I hear my mom's my mom's words through my mouth, which I think that it happens to many people. No, like, oh, I talk just like my mom or my dad, and in such a way that like we're not even aware that we're doing that. It's just by inertia.
Yeah, we should be. Yeah, in serious spiritual work, we should be. A trait or a quality of the soul is to have a conscience. It means that you are aware of these archetypes of a devil and an angel on your shoulder, and you testify of it, and you also pay responsibility to it. You say, yes, it is my action that comes from these considerations. So not looking at someone else, but saying it is me who has to listen and answer to what is going on inside of me.
Yeah.
So that's the spiritual side of the angel and the little devil there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important to realize and also have grace with ourselves when we realize if this happens. Because at the beginning of our work, it might be because we're so used to it, it's part of it's like a second nature, no? We don't even think about
definitely.
it. And it happens. So when it happens, to have grace with ourselves and say, okay, I wasn't aware of that, but I'm going to rectify. And if we keep on doing this and we know that it's wrong, then that's a whole different thing. But in principle, it takes practice, no? It takes self-observation to realize when these things are happening and stopping from engaging with that evil influence, I think.
Definitely, yeah. So again, it can come from other human beings, including ourselves, on a psychological, emotional level, and it can even be a real form of possession of an external entity which has inhabited someone and who works through deception, accusation, and doubt and enticement, for example. We didn't talk about those yet, but it's good to make the difference between the normal, everyday psychological way that these things are being expressed and the deeper, truly possessive examples.
Yeah. Yeah, but still, like the influences are there, and we have to be mindful about it because I think maybe I don't know. Maybe can it escalate? Like we can begin with something very simple, and then could it escalate all the way to a possession, or not necessarily?
No, definitely. Psychologically, it can become pathological, like pathological liars or accusers, people who just can't help themselves. It seems to be that they are lying all the time. And most of the time they know it, but they can't escape it. They really need help.
Wow.
And this may not be an obsession, it may not be a possession, but it may be an obsession. So being under the sway of a certain archetype. So in esoteric, we would say someone is under the sway of Mercury, and then the negative side of Mercury. It's not telling the truth, but doing exactly the opposite. To manipulate, to lie, to deceive, in order to whatever it is, whatever motive is behind it. Yeah. So.
And sometimes it even happens that the person, they actually believe their lies to be true. Like that, I think that they are in such a depth into this influence that they cannot recognize anymore that what they're doing is wrong.
Yes.
And I think when they're in that moment, I think it gets really, really dangerous. It could be dangerous for themselves, for their well-being, and for also the well-being of those around them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Serious cases, these people get completely dysfunctional. Socially, they can't have a relationship or friendship.
Of course.
In worst case scenario. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then of course related to the first 2 points is doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is something that is also a classical example of the entity that may have possessed a person causes doubt all the time.
Mm.
So it creates havoc in order to make sure that there is no stability in the person. It wants to break down, it wants um, to diverse, to make things from a unity, from a wholeness, actually, to break it apart,
Mm.
because that's the function of the demonic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to make wholes, to do exactly the opposite.
Yeah, to break apart.
Um, yeah, 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 to splinter, to fragmentize. Yeah, exactly.
Mm. Wow.
Um, and of course, that is most of the time that's psychologically and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we're doing it ourselves. So it doesn't mean you're possessed, but you may
Exactly.
be obsessed by negative energy
Yeah.
and self-doubt coming from, a negative self-image or from whatever things that you have experienced in the past. And doubt is compromising you all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be taking so much of your energy that it stops you on your tracks. So it's very effective.
Yeah.
It's a very effective way, definitely, to neutralize somebody.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's a very powerful weapon. If you look at these points in doubt as well, if you look
Mm.
at the current state of affairs in the world
Oh yes.
politically,
Oof.
and with everything, all the conflicts going on,
Mm.
causing doubt and confusion, not just only physically but psychologically, emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
is a great weapon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's how you
But
disempower people, definitely.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah. And then we have the so-called enticement.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to do with attraction and temptations. That's the Venusian uh,
Mm. Shadow.
power.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's truly an enormous, beautiful, but also powerful archetype there. And many people fall for it.
Mm.
Um, so we have the three most powerful companies in the world are actually to do with this.
Mm.
That's the sex industry
Ah, yes.
or the war industry, and then we have pharmacy. Um,
Mm.
um, but at least the first two are um, are also things that have to do with these 4 points. For example,
Wow.
if
I hadn't
you
thought about it that
you know
way.
if you
Yeah.
yeah if you want to go to war with someone, again you want to try to inflict damage through deception and accusations and
Mm.
doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even if you don't even want to fight physically with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the enticement again is to try to find the weak spots of the person.
Mm.
Everyone desires something. It doesn't have to be sexual, but
Mm-hmm.
you desire something in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in the case of a demonic possession, you often see that that spot is being easily found.
Mm.
It's most of the time on the surface for
Mm.
people, and that's why yeah, they can be easily diverted from their path, and yeah, they may have certain visions of what they want to have, and physically, chemically, they are um, often completely um, out of balance because of that, very easily. Yeah,
You know, I just remembered now while you were saying this that Netflix series of Lucifer, and
yeah,
because his power is that, like, what is it that you desire, no?
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
there's a temptation, no? Like, hey, I will give it to you, no? So what is it that you desire? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a wish master. But of
mhm.
course, you have to pay a price for it, as we
Oh
all
yes,
know from many fairy tales and of course the that nice series on Netflix.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And the flip side of all these four
Hmm.
points here
Hmm.
is the purity of spirit. It will the small silent voice of God within you, it will not flatter.
Yes.
It will not make you guilty or ashamed. But it will bring you clarity, insight about the situation.
Mm.
Will not make you to doubt, but to come to a clear answer to yourself, a clear decision and responsibility.
Yeah.
And it will not, like you just said, promise you things and or make your wishes come true. You have to work for it, but it will help you, no doubt. But you have to take responsibility for your actions. So that's exactly the opposite side of what we are talking about here.
Wow.
And that's also the representatives, of course, of the light on earth, which is a priest or a shaman or a rishi or an imam. They should have those positive traits, you
Yeah, we
see.
will talk about those traits in a moment. So, do you want to
Yeah.
continue with the next slide?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay, because well, we have talked about like these influences, but how now? Let's talk about the heavy weights. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
demons. So tell us about this. I mean, this looks scary, but also
Yeah, yeah, of
this looks
course.
like one of my cats, and this looks like one of my dogs. So
They're sometimes animal-like indeed. Yeah.
yeah. So what is going on here, Mike? Tell us this.
Yeah. Well, the text below it says demons are psychological, not physical in their nature, have no external existence.
Mm,
So they reside on the psychological level. So people who know their Kabbalah, it will be in the world of Yetzirah,
mm,
and
mhm.
forms and powers on the Esoteric level. Those entities they wish to manifest one way or another. It's the same with the human soul, the psychological level. They wish to manifest. They wish to incarnate.
Ah.
Um, in that sense, these sometimes or often deranged spirits, they need, for the time being, like we do, a physical vessel to make something happen. Because
Mm,
only living on the psychological level, you can't you can't do everything. It's very specific to be in a body because it makes you to be in all potentially in more world than one, and you can
mm,
physically, of course, manifest things. You can materialize them.
mhm.
Um, so that's what we are seeing as the demons behind the person. We have talked
Sorry.
about it. The persons often who are prone to sensitive to demonic possessions are sometimes little children because they're very sensitive to it,
Mm,
even afraid. So they open up
mm,
from their own fright and their own anxiety for it.
mhm.
Then we have also the weak psychological people in general. Um, Now, mind you, that of course, serious demonic powers, they want a serious vessel, not just only physically, but also psychologically.
Mhm.
So they will not choose anyone. But if we're talking about, for example, the more prominent princes of evil, like a Lucifer or a Baphomet or an Asmodee, they will try to inhabit someone with potential, like
Yeah,
an Adolf Hitler,
yeah,
or
exactly.
Stalin.
Mhm.
And we can probably look back at those times and look at their profile and see that there was definitely something going on there of
Oh
possession.
yes. Yeah.
Um, so we have the people who are weak, they can be possessed, but most of the time it's not about serious demonic possession in the sense of, I mean, it is serious, but they are not the most profound entities that are on the lookout for these kind of people.
Okay.
Um, and then we have um, the heavyweight souls on Earth that are sometimes being picked out to do a certain job, because they have a wide range of possibilities, like be a politician or a military general, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And then, yeah. So we can look, of course, at the current state of affairs in the world, and we can pick out a few people who can say, well, they are really unstable. Um, they shouldn't be at that position, and
Mhm.
still they are.
Mhm.
And you can just actually list all the things that they are doing. And it's not testifying of the spirit at all. It's
Yeah.
not bringing things back to union,
No,
or
no,
to wholeness.
quite the
It's
opposite.
not reuniting people or ideas and functions. It's not looking ahead often to the future. Also, looking at more than only oneself and one's nation, but to the wholeness of the planet and nature
Mm.
itself. These are all just almost like simple things on the surface that we can observe, or we can see that some people are in trouble, and
Yeah.
because of that, the rest of the planet. Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
question because, well, obviously, when you hear the word possession, possession means that you like that is something that belongs to you, no? Just like that. That's one of the meanings of the word. Um.
Hmm.
So when a person is possessed, does that mean
Yeah.
that? Because I just realized that I haven't really questioned this before. Does this entity come inside the body and completely takes over the personality and takes over the
Yeah.
body, and then the original person or the original soul is in the background, or how does that work? I don't know if you could give us a little bit more information about it.
That's in the rare case of the last bullet point here of possession.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in some cultures they say it happens every day. But
Okay.
I can only talk here from the Northwestern European, more Christian influences and uh, data that we have, and it's not that common at all.
Okay.
But it happens. It
Mm.
definitely happens. I just, of course, gave you a few examples.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and indeed, one of the things that you can see, observe after a while, is that the soul, of course, itself is being diverted, because the property of the soul is actually to connect heaven and earth,
Mm.
to make a bridge between what is holy and sacred and the earth itself here. If you can see that people are completely compromised and diverted from that path, um, and they had access to their own soul, because sometimes it began as something good, it may definitely be a possession. Yeah,
Okay.
we can see that. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And the other, well, now we're starting actually at the bottom up.
Well,
An
let's go.
obsession.
Let's go to the top. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also fun. So infestation, obsession to locations and objects. So that means um, that is related to an environment or a place. So it might be a house
Ah.
where there are certain phenomena that are happening. And this is not quite so uncommon, where things have happened, for example, in a certain room or a space. It may also be outside, like a battlefield,
Mm.
where sensitive people can still feel and see certain things happening, or there is still a kind of atmosphere of the dead and those kind of things. So that's infestation. Yeah. And of course, the good part of the infestation is where places where beautiful spiritual things have happened, like a temple, and you leave a memory there or an impression of energy which testifies of something holy. So infestation is a negative part of that dynamic, you see.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what I was gonna ask.
oppression.
Sorry, that's what I was
Okay,
gonna
go
ask.
ahead. Yeah,
If infestation,
yeah,
like, what would be the positive side of that then, of those imprints?
yeah, that's exactly it. So that's when we make certain spaces, like our own home could be, we make it in something good.
Yes, but what
And
would be the name? Like for the negative one is
oh,
infestation, but if for the positive imprints that we live in a place, is there a name
yeah.
for that? What would it be?
Well, I don't know if there's one word for it, like a verb, but it is to make something sacred.
Okay.
So a sacralization of a place.
Mm,
Um, and well, I would say ideally, first of all, your own body as a
mm,
place should be the main focus of making this into a temple.
okay.
Or maybe better say to realize and to remember that it is a sacred temple.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Thank you.
Maybe a bit more in Christian terms to say that this is, the temple of the Holy Spirit or the temple of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be an extremely good way if a priest has to go into an exorcism rite to be very aware of that fact.
Mm,
Because without the consciousness of the Christ within and the vessel itself as the container of Christ, we can't do much really against
yeah.
a serious possession.
Oh,
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, then the second point, the oppression, that's on victims and external life, health, finances. It may be that these points go together, infestation and oppression.
Okay.
And yeah, you notice that something is not going well in your life internally, but also externally, because things are falling apart.
Mm,
So it might be things to do with relationships and friendships, work. Things are not coherent anymore. They
mm,
don't stick together. Chaos reigns, and that is what we call an oppression. Sometimes it's a symptom of an obsession, for example, and definitely of a possession.
ooh, okay. Can you tell us a bit
Because,
more? Uh-huh.
well, if there's a real possession going on, the entity, the demonic within the person who is possessed, wants to make sure that every help or any aid from the outside world is going to be eradicated.
Ah, yes.
So, so that there's no communication or bad communication, disturbance of, for example, taking care of your health, that
Mm,
people can't eat anymore if they have to vomit all the time.
wow.
Any disturbance that is possible, um, it comes to this. Or that people lose their job so they don't have any money to pay the
Mm,
rent. Simple things like that, apparently. But they're being isolated more and more and more.
mm,
That's what evil does.
wow.
Yeah. And again, you can see that sometimes happening between people or between, I don't know, in a company. If you have
Mm,
an evil inclined person or a director, a manager, you can see that happening.
oh,
Or
yes.
in the world with presidents and important politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. And but again, oppression can also happen not only with possession, but also obsession. That people are suffering from an interior attack. So it's not an external entity per se, but you're obsessed by something and it devalues you eventually.
Mm,
Some obsessions may, in that sense, not be always too harming, but they may become,
yeah.
especially when you can't separate the thing you're obsessed with and yourself.
Yeah, and I
Then it
think, for
becomes
example,
pathological.
yeah, when one is a teenager, and I would know that because I kind of was obsessed with, when you're a teenager, like, oh, this actor or this boy band and whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I think that teenage girls are very prone to this.
yeah.
And it's such a, as you say, no, you're in such a tender age that you are still forming your personality, that you cannot
Mm.
separate yourself from that. So I think it's part of growing up that some of us go through that when we are teenagers, for example, that we are maturing, but at the
Exactly.
same time, you want to identify with somebody or someone who will give you this identity, which you don't have still. And I remember that very well, because when I was 11 years old, I was invited to a New Kids on the Block concert in Mexico City. And I didn't even know about them. I became obsessed with them a bit later because of that, but not so bad as, for example, this girl that went with us. Like she had the bedding, in her room was New Kids on the Block, the poster, like she had all of the things from the New Kids
all
on
the
the Block.
merchandise.
Yeah. And when we were there, I was so surprised because I had never seen any of this. I was 11 years old. The girl was crying, like she couldn't, and yelling, like she was like, she couldn't even breathe because of that. It was such a powerful memory that I have. And it takes me that to what you're saying right now, no? Because I think sometimes when you're a teenager, you can go through those phases. And I think it's kind of part of growing up. But when you keep on maturing or growing up, and this is something that happens a lot, and women can be but can also happen to men, no? But women, we can be very vulnerable. It has happened to me when you get stalkers, no? Men who are so obsessed with women, and sometimes it can even go all the way to them taking their lives. Like it can be very, very, very dangerous. And I think it falls into this category, no? So maybe you begin with something, as you say, no, very mild, very innocent, but then it can escalate to an authentic act of evil. So I think it's important to recognize if we're beginning to get obsessed with something, like, whoa, what is happening here? And what is the purpose of me going through this obsession? No? Why is this happening?
Oh, very good examples indeed. Yeah. And also to add that in spiritual work, where we work with archetypes, as a Kabbalist, you work with archetypes on the tree. Those are the Sephirot. But they can be a bit more personal. So it may be a god form, or it may be a mythological character. And for some people, they are so appealing to them because they compensate, for example, something within their personality, that they completely engage with it and they lose themselves, a bit like the pop star, but then later in life. And I've seen these people, sometimes innocent, others seriously deluded. And that's then also an obsession. Yeah. So it's not an external entity, a demon, but it is an adopted archetype with which they can't separate themselves. They identify completely with it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So these are the four phenomena of the demonic in ourselves.
So could you say that before going all the way to possession, you can pass through the other ones first, and then you get all the way to the possession? Or is it possible
Not per
that
se.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
No, it doesn't have to be.
okay.
Yeah. But again, you have certain combinations of things happening. Like I said before, if you have the true possession happening there with the demonic intrusion, it will lead to oppression. You will see that things, because evil uses you up.
Yeah.
So it may seem that you are empowered by it, like you said with the story of Lucifer promising you the whole world, as Lucifer did actually to Jesus in the desert. And you will have the idea that you are empowered, but eventually you will be devoured, you will consumed by that same power. That's an act of evil. And you could see it happening with certain people in history, like we talked about Adolf Hitler. The whole Third Reich, it just collapsed. It couldn't hold. And that's a very classical example of these kind of things. Yeah.
So could you say, if we translate it to modern times, because as you say, no, we can see many people in places of power right now who are like showing these things. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want us to be censored. But
well, we can do it. I don't mind. It's not that I want to.
Well, if the video disappears from YouTube. I will have a copy and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for example, with the thing that's going on with the Epstein files,
Ah,
I
yeah.
mean, that
Mhm.
guy was, I think he was possessed because he did a lot of oppression around him, no? Like he
Mhm.
seeded evil all over and now everything is coming up. But my question would be, you were just mentioning, no? For example, what happened in Second World War, like it couldn't contain itself anymore because it's not of the light. It's not. It doesn't belong to creation, uh,
Mhm.
to the goodness of creation. I mean,
Yeah.
so could we assert that the craziness that we're going on right now through all over the world, it's gonna have to collapse eventually because it cannot hold itself up because it's not
Yeah.
centered in the light, right? Am I correct in this assertion?
Yeah, and everything that we are talking about, also including the serious demonic powers, they are a part of creation. It would
Yeah.
be a mistake, which certain theological um, sources have tried
Hmm.
to say in their dogma of the centuries, would be a mistake to say that they're not of God's creation.
Yeah.
We have, and Kabbalah expresses this very well in the Tree of Life diagram, we
Hmm.
have the building up powers and the breaking down powers in
Yeah.
all the worlds. It happens in our body at this very moment. You know,
Hmm.
bone is actually breaking down and building up. Same with muscle tissue and everything.
Yeah.
So that's the demonic and the angelic powers building up, and they are in conformity.
Hmm.
If you have too many demons in your body breaking down, you will have osteoporosis, for example.
Ah,
Too
yes,
much angels and less demonic in your bones, you will get cancer. You
exactly.
see?
Yeah.
So we have to balance these power in the world instead of trying to beat the other one to death with the other one.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a childish, theological viewpoint on these matters.
Hmm.
Um, but so that's what I think we should try to do. Not say, we have to get rid of evil.
Hmm.
We have to give it its right place, like the
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
And and that's where the world is going to be a better place from. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But it will always be, as long as we are incarnated, this is the world of struggle at the same time.
Mm. Oh,
And
yes.
but we can make it also a beautiful place where struggle is still a part of the whole thing,
Yeah, it's inevitable.
but it can still be a kingdom of heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be your friendly. Yeah, thank you for making that clarification because that's why I myself said creation, not about creation, but the light in creation. No,
Yeah.
and as
Yeah.
you say, we need both forces
Yeah.
because duality is the reason why we exist. If there was no
Yeah.
duality, there would be no creation. So thank you so much for pointing that out and making us be aware of it. Because as you say, sometimes religion or spirituality can be very simplistic and very black and white when
Yeah.
that's not necessarily the case at all. And I think it's a spiritual trap in a way. And we I think we've talked about it before here in one of our programs that it's part of the spiritual growth, no, to go as we're in our quest looking for information that
Yeah.
we're going to be taught, oh no, you only have to be of the light, everything is of the light. And for example, no, if people in the group, if people are being mean to you, you have to forgive them, they are your brothers and sisters because we are of the light.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's very toxic behavior, no, like no,
Hmm.
that's not how it works. We need, as you say, we need regulations, we need rules, we need structure, no,
Yeah.
so that we
Mhm.
can grow in such a way that is harmonious. So sometimes we have to let go of things and sometimes we have to create things. and
Exactly. So, yeah.
and as you say, the point here is put things where they belong, like place them where they are. They serve a purpose and a reason.
Yeah.
And we cannot go always on expanding and growing and growing. I mean,
No.
the way
Yeah.
that the
Exactly.
universe works, it just cannot allow for just growth. We need, that's why like there it's like waves, no, like coming up
Hmm.
and coming down, and that's the nature of life, and we have to be mindful of it and be grateful for it because
Yeah.
that's why we exist.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I agree with you. And the greatest lessons humanity as a collective and also individuals can learn is actually uh, from trouble.
Yeah,
So the demonic is often um, that side of life that is the greater teacher.
yeah,
We are not very good students as humanity in good times,
mm,
but we need wake-up calls all the time to say, oh, wow, wait a minute. Now we have to come into action.
yeah,
And these are great times of turmoil where there are a lot of lessons to be learned. It's a rich time, you could say. Not
yes,
just a time of worry and headache and people going all over the place on social media saying all kinds of things uh, and losing their minds and their stability, but just saying this is very important what's happening at the moment.
yeah,
And although I can't change the world, but what could I change learning from these kind of things at the
mhm.
moment?
That's
Mhm.
right. Yeah, we have
And that
opportunities for growth, definitely.
yeah. So what answer do we have to the demonic? That's an important question.
Yeah.
And instead of going with it and
Mhm.
destroying things, including ourselves, how can we actually invert and go back to the light? And then the demonic becomes actually, excuse me, like a trampoline
Mm.
to go back to an exalted state, to sublimate ourselves. Mhm.
Yeah, it could be an interesting mirror, no, to say like, look at
Yeah.
how what the state of things are. What are you going to do
Mhm.
about it?
Yeah, that's
Mm.
it. There is some Gnostic idea that the demonic evil doesn't want to actually draw everything away from God, but that itself wishes to return to the source.
Okay.
So they are there to test us, to make life difficult, but to eventually make us as sentient beings to rise up and go back to the source and to redeem them in the same act.
Hmm. Wow.
That's another metaphysical philosophy. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, that's a good
I
point,
like
no?
that
Like,
one to be honest, but
yeah,
it's a personal thing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. We can be of service to the redemption. Wow, that is very powerful.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, God created these forces in order to take care of certain activities that are needed in our world, and
yeah,
and they have a job to do. But if we come to
yeah.
wholeness, then they will have no more job to do, and then they come back to source. So we are the reason why they're stuck here in a way.
So true. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you can imagine maybe that at the beginning of time, God was saying, "Okay, listen, people, I have all these jobs to do. Who wants the angelic ones?"
Hmm.
And probably everyone would say, "Yes, me. Volunteer."
Yeah.
And on the other side, you have the demonic ones, and probably you have to be very courageous and very devoted to God to say,
Yes.
"Okay, I'll take that one on." So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Like it
yeah,
sounds very ridiculous and absurd, but it's true. They
yeah. Of
love
course,
God so much that they
yeah.
will do the dirty work for Him.
That's the idea behind it. Exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
wow. Oof. Mike, I don't know. How are we with time? Do we have, I don't know,
I
another?
could do a bit longer. I
Okay.
haven't actually checked the exact time
Yeah,
where we
that's why,
started. Well,
because yeah, I got
yeah,
lost in the conversation and I don't know. So
yeah. No,
uh,
no, no. Yeah.
do you want to continue with the next slide?
If
Maybe
you
with the
want to,
next.
I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, why don't we do this? Yes, because that's also something that I was gonna ask you, but now here's the slide. Uh, what
Yeah.
do we do? What can we do when these kinds of things happen around us? Not be the intrusion or the possession or the obsession
Yeah.
or yeah. So what can we do to help that? And I think it's connected to this slide, no?
Exactly. It has, and these are examples of prayers, very specifically.
Mhm.
Um, but I think if we're not talking about a possession directly,
Mm.
which asks for very specific and uh, very specialized work from a priest, for example,
Mm.
someone who is educated for it. But all the other cases like obsession and what have you, infestation, is that apart from prayers, which can always be done with or for a person, like deliverance prayers. So it says these can be said by anyone in the case of the above situations that we just described. So Our Father, that's the Lord's Prayer, can be said. It can be prayers from the Bible, from the New Testament, for example. Very powerful prayers, for example, that people can do are the prayers that are devoted to Mary.
Yeah, the Magnificat, no? It's very powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think we addressed that before in our program, is that, of course, to invoke Christ within us and to bring over that light to the one who's possessed is very important. But a proper exorcism rite without the presence, the invocation, and the prayers of Mary, and we are talking about, of course, about Mary Ben Miriam, it will not be successful because she is the representative of the womb of Christ. She is the womb of God. That's why in the old days, with the true possession, the person, the victim itself, would be brought into the church. There it would be that the possession would take place in the womb of Christ, which is the church.
Ah, yes, of course.
Now you see these situations where the priest goes to the house, and in the bedroom or wherever it is where the whole problem started, you see, the environment of disruption and trouble is where they're going to do the exorcism. That's not really the procedure where it should be done.
Okay.
So the church as the womb of creation, the womb of Christ, that's ideally where we should go with an exorcism and do the prayers. But as long as that hasn't happened, in the case of possession, people around you can one of the greatest weapons for lay people is to pray.
Okay.
Because it is like the opening of the connection with we call in Kabbalah the higher worlds or with the divine, and to keep that channel open for the victim.
I have a question here. For instance, if we know of or somebody we love is ailed by any of the evil influences that we talked about earlier, because I'm thinking it would be very hard for a person, for example, who is in the level of possession, to bring them to church. I think it would be very difficult because physically they can have even this strength that it's very hard to manage. But do you need the permission or the how can I say it? Because normally these people, when this is happening, they are not themselves. No. Like they are,
or occasionally,
So if they are not really themselves, so they're not completely lucid, and they are not lucid because of this influence, and you want to help them because you love them, can you still do the prayer and everything to help them, even though they might not agree with it because of the influence that they're under?
Yeah, the problem is often that if people are really in a progressive state of the possession, sometimes you just don't know who you're talking with. So to ask for their consent, it's often a difficult thing. Yeah. And then you have to make a decision between their life and their health, or worst case scenario. So often you don't have much choice in these cases, and you have to act upon it. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is prayer is sometimes also a way of diagnosing, so to speak, if you're dealing with a possession.
Yeah.
Because a true possession, a demonic infestation, doesn't like prayer at all. and they will get uneasy with it, and you will see the reaction physically, psychologically, from the point of view of the victim, which normally, of course, the person wouldn't mind. So that's another thing with the prayers in this case. That's why most exorcisms start with prayer.
Yeah.
Use of holy water and prayer. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, if you don't have any questions about that first thing, then the appreciative and protective prayers by invoking God's powers and angels. So this is very esoteric, but it's also a part of the exorcism as described by the Roman Catholic Church, is that you do not come alone. So if you are going to go towards possession, you know you're going to fight not someone or something, but you're going to fight, as it's being described in the Bible, a legion. You're going to fight a hierarchy.
Yeah.
So it's very wise to also invoke your own hierarchies, the ones who are in favor of light, of order, of love, of wholeness, etc. And therefore, good to have knowledge of what these invocations and protective prayers may mean and how to do them. So you have to be prepared.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question here. So because you said the deliverance prayers, anybody can do them. Like it could be even just a member of a family, a friend, you're there and then you start praying. But there are certain stages where you need actually a priest who is trained in these protocols to make sure that everybody is protected, so to speak. But in this case, for these kinds of prayers that you just mentioned, can they also be said by lay people, or is it just some tool that priests use?
No, they can be said by anyone. And of course, in certain cases, not the worst case scenario possessions, but with obsessions or infestations and oppressions, you can also, of course, pray for the person, and you're not in their space.
Their presence.
They may know or not know that you're praying, but you know one person is going through a rough time, these oppression symptoms. Life is deranged, it's falling apart, so you're going to pray for them. That's another deliverance kind of prayer. So you can do it with the person, with the knowledge of the person, in the presence of the person or not. Of course, it is something to be said that we should ask for the permission of the person in those kind of cases. Of course, another thing we shouldn't forget is that if we have the intention to pray for someone, this is an act of love.
Yes.
So, which is very important with any of those cases that we just mentioned. That if people love you, they want to bring you back to wholeness.
Of course.
And then sometimes it doesn't matter too much what you pray, if it's coming from the Bible or if it's your own prayer. But it's an expression of love towards the person.
Yeah.
And anyone can do it, of course. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, good.
Yeah. And the second one, the appreciative and protective prayers are a bit more specific because most people don't know them. But then again, any people can say them. Although in Holy Mass, it is often the priest who says them alone because it's being said that they know the powers, the hierarchies of heaven, and they have the authority to actually call them in.
Okay.
That's tradition, so to speak. It's still in the Mass.
Okay.
But of course, there are enough exceptions of people who may have contact with them as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And so God's powers, in the sense of angels, the hierarchies, they come with the powers that heal, that consolidate, that bring things back together again, that are loving, and yeah.
Okay, good.
And then we have the more specific one, and that's the imperative prayers. That's commanding demons directly. That's not a very wise thing to give to people who don't know what they're talking about. They haven't have any experience. This is, of course, as it says in the description, very specific to pure possessions. So, of course, there's a whole procedure going on before this because you have to know, ideally, who you're talking to.
Oh, yes.
So these prayers may hopefully lead to the identification of the demon or demons. Or you already know them, that would be very nice. And then you actually attack them with these imperative prayers. And again, most of them are coming from the Bible. The Lord's Prayer is also in itself an imperative prayer.
Okay.
Because it's one of the greatest prayers for healing and establishing the divine on earth. So the demons are not very happy with this one.
Okay, good to know.
Good to know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, another good example is the Psalms.
Yes.
Written by our good friend King Solomon, who was one of the greatest sacred magicians of his time. So he was a demon evoker, but also the one who was said that could control demons by certain
with his
procedures.
ring, no? Also, like they say,
Exactly.
his ring.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Okay.
So, and of course, the Psalms themselves are not per se, if you read them, are not exorcism kind of prayers. They are love songs.
Yes.
And nothing is stronger than that power expressed in prayer than those kind of prayers.
Nice.
Than love prayers. It's exactly the opposite of course, what the demonic has in store for us.
Wow. I was gonna ask you about the psalms because they say that this psalm is for protection. I can't remember the numbers of the psalms, but if you look for psalms for protections, there are even like mantras and chanting with the psalms and precisely to help with this. So I know it's powerful stuff, but sometimes
it is.
We are not aware of why are they so powerful, and you just explained it. No, it's not so much that it's not like a hocus pocus kind of thing. It's just that they are evoking love, and love dissolves the darkness. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of these prayers have been used by people over the centuries. So these words and prayers have been empowered over the centuries long. So that's why they become very powerful. And maybe not in Latin, the language that we use here, but other ancient language like Coptic or Greek, Aramaic, Hebrew. Yeah, they can be very more specific in their symbolic expression. So every letter means something. It's an entity on itself, and it expresses certain divine and spiritual virtues. So if you use that kind of language, it can be very powerful in itself. That's why the Roman Catholic Church uses with exorcism a lot of Latin, for example.
Yes.
So not per se necessary if you don't know it, but it has, of course, a potential in itself. Yeah.
Wow. So there's like it's good to know that there are already like these protocols and these tools that can help us, and especially, and that's why I wanted to ask you that before, that you're making it clear that if you maybe know of somebody who might be going through some evil influence that is hurting them, you can pray for them, and that's going to be opening up something good for them. So sometimes when you are close to a certain situation as the ones you have described to us, and many listeners and our viewers might be thinking, oh my God, I recognize that in me. I have gone through that, or I know somebody who's going through that. And you might think, okay, what do I do now? Well, you can start by praying. So it's good to know that there's something that we can do that comes out of our hearts and out of love, and it's going to benefit the person. So that's really good to know. Thank you. So, Mike, why don't we finish here today? I don't know. We can finish probably next.
This is an image of the Holy Mass of the ASA. It's a particular altar.
Yeah.
One thing we can say about the Holy Mass, it's in itself meant to actually bring back the soul towards the presence of Christ. Because it's the celebration or the ritual of Christ itself, the Last Supper. So it's like, do these things and you become as I am, and through I am, you become as the Father. So it's a unification, mystical unification ritual in itself. So a very powerful ritual actually to use inside of an exorcism to bring the person again into church or a temple or a little shrine and say, okay, we're going to do the Holy Mass here.
Wow.
And a pure demonic presence won't be very happy with that kind of thing.
Do they flee? If I mean, does it get to that point where they flee, or they're just going to make things difficult?
I don't have the personal experience, but it might well be that in some cases it will not be it will not stay. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, but most of the time it asks for repetition to get rid of a true demonic possession. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So if I am correct, the rest of the presentation you were going to tell us about the role of the priest, no, into the whole process of getting rid of the evil entity. So maybe we can come back to that, because I really would like to talk to you about your, because you just said that, like, I have experiences and others I don't. But surely there are cases that you've heard about that, or that you know about, that could also illustrate. And also, I think it's important that people know not only your experience and trajectory with this, but why, if we have a suspicion that somebody we love might be going through this, why it's so important to go and find help for it. We cannot do this on our own. So I think it's important that you share with us the role of the priest in the deliberation of the person who is being hurt by this. No, what do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it happens to certain peoples or families that they just don't consider the fact, because they are not religious at all, that this is going on. So it's for them a foreign thing, strange thing to get the help of a priest in these kind of cases. So often it takes a while to notice that these people are under attack. And that's why sometimes you see that these people often end up in an asylum, and they are all the symptoms are being repressed by medication, and it makes things even worse. And they fall apart from the inside, but not treated, of course, for the problem itself. So that's of course a problematic situation. So if people see that it seems to be that not just the person is in trouble, but the whole personality changes. The life about them, oppression changes, everything falls apart again. And that it seems that there are unnatural things going on. So the people is unnaturally strong, is becoming violent, is destructive, is hurting itself. Maybe even in more extreme situations, is capable of doing things, or the talking in strange tongues.
Yes.
Those kind of things. Those are a set of certain symptoms that we have to be mindful about, that cannot come from any psychopathological reason actually that we can find in any book on psychiatry, whatever it
Mm,
is.
okay.
Um, so yeah, then I would say get professional help.
Mm, wow.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because and
Mm.
we talked about it in one of the earlier episodes that there are protocols that you follow as a priest to
Mm.
distinguish is this a psychological issue or does it have another origin. So it's
Mm.
really good that that you have talked about it and that you have the protocols. And I also know because I think that the most specialized ones are the Catholics in terms of taking care of these kinds of things. So they
Yeah.
already have this set of protocols where they can know if is this really a possession or is this more like a mental illness kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's good to know
Well,
that that you know how
yeah.
to distinguish.
Yeah. No, in the Christian tradition, basically, the Roman Catholics are the only ones who have seriously taken initiative uh, to educate exorcists
Mhm.
and to make sure that every parish should have one. I don't think they have anymore,
No, I don't
uh,
think so either.
but everything in the Protestant movement, as far as I know, they do not have this kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is basically also a bit funny because um, Luther itself, who of course started the Reformation, was
Mhm.
very much afraid of the devil.
Ah,
So yeah, he was haunted by the devil, by
wow.
guilt and shame all the time, and the feeling of not being worthy.
Mm,
Um, but anyway, so yeah,
wow. Well,
hmm,
yes. Wow. So interesting. We thought maybe this time we will finish, but there's still
no
the
way.
last piece of the last piece of the puzzle. Who would have thunk, no, that this is a whole series of very illustrative videos, very interesting. And it all began with a question: what happens when the veil thins? Is it safe to
Yeah,
play Ouija? And then we went down the rabbit hole, and here we are. But we are
we're
so
still in it.
grateful to you, dear Mike. Thank you so much. Can you
Yeah,
tell us? Can you tell us how can we get in touch with you, or how can people get in touch with you if they want to know about your books, about your courses, what you're up to?
sure. Websites are Circle of Avalon.nl, all in English, and KabbalahMysticalSchool.com. You can find me on social media, but that's most of it is um, to do with Facebook.
Mhm.
So on the mikebais or Circle of Avalon, and there you see my posts and activities sometimes as well. So I think that's the most important thing. My email address is mikebais at rocketmail.com. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can, of course, post them to you or to me. It's all good. If you have any questions about Kabbalah roundtable work or the ASA, of which this is a part, the
Mhm.
Apostolic Succession of Arimathea, I'm very welcome to hear from you.
Yes,
Yeah,
like I'm gonna leave the in the description of the video how people can contact you in case they didn't listen. But yes,
yeah,
Synchronous, we want to hear about your experiences. About if you have any questions, you can leave them here in comments. And as you know, I do have in this channel of Mexxicamelot, I have to authorize any comments, so don't be discouraged by that. I do that to keep the space clean and to keep it healthy. This is
mm,
an initiative I've had since the beginning. So we are looking at your comments. And so please tell us what do you think about everything we've talked about. If you have any questions, you can also leave them here in comments, and we will be very
yeah,
happy to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, also please subscribe now and click on the little bell so that every time we have a new video, then you can come and check it out. So dear Mike, how are we finishing today's program? Some words of wisdom for now.
uh, yeah, exactly. What else can we add today? Um, Maybe the first thing that comes to mind is actually the part of prayer, because in any case, whatever happens to us or to other people, to the world at this very moment, that's the thing that we can always do. And even if you're not used to pray or you're not have any religious background,
Mhm.
but you can always have an intention to say, could this person or this situation be better? Or whatever it is that you think should be made whole or be
Mm.
brought back into the light. And we can all do that. And it's a very powerful intermediate activity that we can do.
Yeah.
So, and don't let us not underestimate the power of prayer,
Yes.
even if we do it for a few minutes. So that's what I would say.
That's what I was
Don't know
gonna
what
say
about
too.
you, but
Yeah, like
okay, good.
keep in mind prayer, because sometimes we forget that it can be not only of great comfort but also a great protection, and so it's really easy to do. It doesn't really take. I mean, prayer can be as simple as God, please help me, or God, thank you for this day, and then you're praying.
So it is, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, dear Mike. Thank you, Synchronauts, and we'll see each other when we don't know, but we will be back. That is for sure.
As soon as
Thank you.
possible to finish
Thank
the
you.
program.
Bye.
Bye bye.